Germany. A country that has brought us some good things, some not so good things, and Uwe Boll. Uwe Boll is a film director who might just be the worst director of all time, ever, but is, in a word, unique, as evidenced by his documentary titled, Fuck You All, The Uwe Boll Story. I can never say that one with a straight face. Now, he directed plenty of video game movies. Bad video game movies, let me specify. One of them being the Postal movie from 2007. Or Postal The Movie. Yeah, that's it. I discovered this movie totally by accident, getting it for free when I bought Postal 2 on Steam. I was kind of surprised to see it in my library, but boy, was I not ready for what a wild ride this movie is. Just to give you a little context before we dive into things, here's a little synopsis. The dude is a loser who lives in Paradise, Arizona. His life sucks, he hates his wife, and he's on welfare. But that changes when his Uncle Dave, who runs a doomsday cult, hatches a plan to steal some crotchy dolls from Little Germany, disguised as Nazis, to make some bank. But of course there's a catch. The Taliban, who are hiding out in the back of a convenience store, are also after the dolls, since they have vials of bird flu stashed in them. After a shootout, the dude and Uncle Dave get the dolls, and kidnap Vern Troyer. The crew fights through the Taliban and into Uncle Dave's doomsday bunker, but it turns out Uncle Dave's right-hand man was conspiring against them the whole time, and he was in love with Uncle Dave. He sacrifices Uncle Dave, and then throws Vern Troyer into a chamber with hundreds of monkeys to fulfill a prophecy, and then he locks the dude up in a cell, intending to end the world with the bird flu. But the dude breaks out, fights the Taliban, cultists, and half the town's population, and wins, because he's just built different, saving the day. But none of this matters because the US gets into a nuclear war with India and China off-screen, and the movie ends with Osama bin Laden and George Bush holding hands and frolicking in a field while nuclear explosions go off around them and end the world. Got all that? Good. Moving on. Now, this movie doesn't go from 0 to 100 fast or anything. It starts at 100 and just goes from there. It starts with a sequence of two terrorists who have hijacked a plane, but they realize they're going to get less virgins when they martyr themselves than when they first signed up to be terrorists. And after, hashing it out with the big boss, Osama himself, they find out that...
We can't guarantee more than 20.
After this, they decide it's not worth it anymore, and they go redirect the plane to the Bahamas. But then the passengers break into the cabin and try to take back control of the plane, even though one of the hijackers says, it's not convincing enough, surprisingly, so the plane continues to spiral out of control. The shot pulls back a bit, you see a window washer high up on a skyscraper, and you see the plane lurch into view, and then you realize, it's 9/11. The movie just cold opened with a 9/11 joke. That is absolutely insane. Who the fuck starts a movie like that? Needless to say, now I needed to watch the rest of the movie. Cut to Paradise, Arizona, home of the dude, played by Zach Ward. He starts off as a bit of a dweeb, lacking the strong, murderous aura of the Postal dude. But don't worry, you get to see him evolve into a psycho over the course of the movie. In fact, later on in the movie, when he comes home to his wife doing the nasty with his trailer park supervisor who looks like the most handsome hillbilly from Deliverance, you see something snap inside him. He kicks the door and you go, oh my god, did he just go postal? Oh my god, he's going postal, because it's Postal the Movie. Whoa! Now, I'll try to go over the absolute insanity that is this movie without spoiling too much about the plot, since I really think that this is something to be experienced firsthand. Also because there's vast chunks of the movie that you straight up can't get away with showing on YouTube without basically having to blur out 90% of the scene.
Oh shit.
We chased so many monkeys. I don't fucking know. I got nothing to do with this shit.
Once you get a bit further into the movie, you see... Wait, did I just see J.K. Simmons?
1 in every 10 people in America is on the payroll of the CIA.
Did I just see J.K. Simmons spout CIA conspiracy theories? Huh? And is that Dave Foley as Uncle Dave? Like, Kids in the Hall Dave Foley? And Vern Troyer? Did I just see Vern Troyer holding a light-up dildo on a stick? Look, I know they're not necessarily the biggest names in the business, but how the fuck did they end up working with Uwe Ball? I would give anything to see how their agents pitched this movie to them.
I can't believe I took this fucking job. Fucking bullshit. God damn it.
Now this, I'm not entirely convinced that this line wasn't just something that Vern Troyer said totally unprompted and they left in the movie. Later in the movie, you even get a cameo from Vince Desi himself, the creator of Postal.
Ball, I'm Vince Desi. What the fuck you do to my game Postal?
I don't know what your fucking problem is. The movie is great.
And I'm not entirely convinced that Vince was acting in this scene. From what I know about him, I honestly think he's just like that. Moving on from the shock that any half-decent actor got involved with Uwe Ball, the movie itself is a surprisingly good adaptation of Postal. Take a scene from the movie where the dude has to visit the welfare office to pick up his check. After standing in line a bit, one of the other citizens gets a little bit upset about the clerk telling him he handed in the wrong form. So, naturally, he pulls out a nearby officer's service weapon and starts blasting. And honestly, if you've ever had to get anything from a government office ever, you'll see his response and you get it. The cops try to wrestle the gun from him. All hell breaks loose, bullets fly, and bodies drop. And meanwhile, the dude is crawling around on the floor, checking the number that each dead body, or nearly dead body, has to see if he can swap his out and move further up in line. But by the time he gets the next number that's called, the clerk says that they're closed for the day. This scene feels like it could be right out of Postal 2, and it feels like it's fully embracing the absurdity of the Postal franchise. And beyond perfectly capturing the Postal vibe, the movie is legitimately funny sometimes. Now, normally this wouldn't be such an amazing feat, but I encourage you to watch any other Uwe Ball movie and then come back to me on this. You'll understand. Now, a lot of this comes from the ridiculous setting and the fact that the characters have this total indifference to the violence and chaos around them that gets played totally straight, like it's just normal. Like when the dude sends a lady ping-ponging through traffic and into a cop car.
What was that?
Oh. I thought we had a flat, but we just ran over some girl. Whew, thank God.
I mean, he honestly seems like he could care less about this. It just seems like a Tuesday for him. Uwe Ball even has a very funny, self-deprecating joke about some rumors about how he finances his movies.
You know, there are all that rumors out that my movies are financed with Nazi gold, and what should I say? It's true. But somebody must do something with the money.
Like, there's some actual comedy going on here. I guess Uwe Ball can be funny, sometimes, if he wants to be. And beyond the little jokes, there's even entire segments that I would call, dare I say it, good. Like when the dude has to go in for a job interview. From him not being able to sit up straight on the chair and being asked,
"What the fuck is wrong with you?"
to the severed heads on the wall, the questionnaire.
What is your greatest strength?
I'm a really good team player.
Wrong.
And the insane, unhinged lines the hiring manager has.
I mean, how does it feel to put fucking 15 heads on that wall? I'll tell you how it feels. It feels fucking great. Doesn't it feel fucking great? Like,
Or when the dude is harassed for money by a random guy on the street, which is punctuated by this.
Come here. Come here. I want to talk. Come here. Get the fuck out of here.
Like, you can't say that isn't funny as hell. It's like watching an Oblivion NPC interaction in real life. Oh, look, it's J.K. Simmons again. I remember the scene being a little different. Huh, I must have found the director's cut while I was looking for clips to edit.
All 3,000 people who died in the World Trade Center attacks were not heroes. They were bankers. People who would let nothing stand in the way of making a quick buck.
Yeah, I can see why they had to cut that one. And oh look, you can see exactly when they ran out of budget for having J.K. Simmons in the movie. But as funny as this movie can be, you're also regularly reminded that this is an Uwe Ball movie, when he uses a poop joke unironically.
Yeah, so then what's the problem, Rich?
Well, it's the IRS.
I'm just gonna go ahead and pretend I never saw Dave Foley do this. Now, something I think enhances this movie even more, you could say brings it to the next level, is that it's scored almost entirely with tracks that sound like Uwe Ball bought the rights from Teemu.
Fuck you.
Like, seriously, listen to this.
Master, allow me.
What in the royalty-free music is going on here? It's so jarring in certain scenes that it feels like I'm watching a movie that's a parody of itself. Maybe that's the point. Am I thinking too much about an Uwe Ball movie? I think I am. But there is also a couple cases of the music going way harder than it has any right to go. Like this. Okay, go off. Who is trying to make $1 out of 15 cents? I have never heard that saying in my goddamn life. There's also another song that absolutely slaps too. The track that plays in the Taliban hideout in the back of the convenience store. Like, just listen to this shit. Beyond being just a parody song, like, it just goes way harder than it has any right to go. What happened with these two songs? Is this where the entire budget for the score went? I'm so confused. And speaking of being confused, all this isn't even touching on the movie's absolutely insane ending sequence. Now, I won't go over exactly how we get here so as not to spoil too much, but I'll let the dudes summarize what's going to go down in the ending.
I have to destroy a postal truck filled with lethal microbes before a doomsday cult or a terrorist group gets their hands on it and destroys the entire world.
Yeah, like I believe that.
Jihad! Lab!
Okay, where's that truck?
Now, while this is happening, someone changes the difficulty to impossible, and every citizen in paradise gets a gun and starts hunting down the postal dude, armed to the teeth. But this sequence does give us a nice little example of how to deal with a cyclist in traffic. The dude nabs the truck, takes it to his trailer, and then somehow everyone on God's green earth knows his location and starts shooting at him. After trying to calm the crowd down with a bomb threat and a passionate speech for peace, he asks the crowd,
Shoot. Or hug.
Shoot him.
Since peace is no longer an option, the dude proceeds to kill literally everyone. The Taliban, cultists, anyone unfortunate to be within about 500 feet of him. Everyone. After cleaning up the gene pool a bit, he just, leaves the truck with the vials of bird flu in it, just kind of sitting there. I guess we're not handling that. Just a truck full of biotoxins, hanging out. But it turns out that none of this matters because, off-screen, the US destroys India and China with nuclear strikes, and in retaliation, the two countries send about 30 nukes America's way. And then we get a shot of George W. Bush and Osama bin Laden holding hands, skipping in a field, while everything gets bathed in nuclear fire. By the time I had finished this movie, I felt like I had just woken up from a fever dream. I was even in a cold sweat, but that might have been because I was actually sick with a fever when I watched this. The movie is ridiculous, unhinged, offensive, violent, and crude. It truly is an awful movie, but by God, it is a perfect adaptation of Postal.
I'm sorry, apparently I'm feeling a little psychotic this morning.